Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2022. Do you have your yearly budget planned? Well, if not, I have a template that you can pick up. I'll leave a link down below. I've already made a tutorial video on the template so you can see how to use it, but today I'm going to go ahead and show you my budget for 2022, and we're going to take a look at the end of 2021 and kind of see how that year played out. But also, on the last video, on the tutorial video, I did give you a glimpse of this year's budget. I've already made some changes, so we're going to take a look at those. Hi everyone, my name is Jackie. Welcome to the channel. We are enjoying life's journey, and I like to share our real life numbers with you, and we follow a zero-based budget. So today I'm going to show you how we do that, and hopefully it helps you in some way. So let's jump on the Excel sheet and get started. So like I mentioned, we're going to take a look at 2021 really quick. You're going to notice that the template or the yearly layout looks the same. The difference is I did not offer the yearly template for you guys in the past, so that's something new. In addition, with the 2022 template, as you plug in your numbers in the yearly tab, if you will, those numbers are automatically going to push into the month budget, so that's really useful. So we're just going to go through this real quick. We're just mostly I'll give you a glance of what everything looks like as far as the money that was coming in. So this wasn't necessarily all income that was coming in, it's just cash. So I don't want you just to think of a budget as a restrictive type of thing, but more of a cash flow plan. Basically, you're just telling the money that comes into your household where to go. So I may even retitle this and just say, you know, cash coming in. But basically, you'll see what we have here is Ricky's original 40 hours a week, and then his overtime. My money fluctuates between me receiving pandemic unemployment and then also starting a job and then no longer working. So I have some numbers fluctuating there. We get cash back from our Discover credit card every month, so you'll see how that fluctuated through the year. As well, we get interest into our bank account from our savings account. And then bonuses, basically this is anything, mostly coming from Ricky's work. But I did have one thing when I was still working at Amazon at the beginning of the year. Gift money, so if you have birthday money, Christmas money, that type of stuff coming in. And then I had my self-employment, so there was a few months I did contribute to the personal budget. And then we had just another big amounts coming into the household, which was we did a cash out refinance. So we went from, when we first purchased the house in 2018, we had a 30-year mortgage. After 2 years, we refinanced to a 20-year mortgage, which we did not take out extra money. And then this year, we refinanced to a 15-year mortgage, but we did take out some money. So we paid off my car, and we put money aside for house projects, which most of the house projects are done. So you'll see as we go through the savings, when you come back from our net worth progress report, you'll see how our savings has fluctuated through the year as we spent some of that money. We also had some of our escrow account refunded back to us, and insurance refund from the refinance. If you're in the COVID pandemic and you had a lower income or you had children, you might have seen some of these stimulus that we received. So we had some stimulus checks that we got, but we also had pandemic food stamps or pandemic EBT, and that's just because of the school district our children were in. They were doing a combination of online learning and in-person learning, so we did get some free food money throughout the year for summer and things like that, which was nice. And then the last one we have is our tax refund, our unemployment tax refund from 2020, and then a child tax credit. So we had a lot of extra money coming into our hands this year that we wouldn't normally see. So you guys have probably already had a chance to kind of take a look at the numbers here. I'm just going to scroll over to the side. We'll take a look at the final numbers. So Ricky had about $50,800 worth of regular pay, about $18,700 worth of overtime, and then between my unemployment and working, I had about $15,000 coming in. We got $746 worth of cash back this year. We had about $54 worth of interest into our bank accounts. Not very large. Our bank had taken over since all through 2020 and 21. They started lowering how much we were getting in interest in the bank account. It used to be like 0.2% or 2.2% or something like that. I think we're down to 0.5% now. The other category here, this 2,200 was worth of bonuses. So we basically I had a $150 bonus from Amazon, and then Ricky had $600 from his yearly bonus with his work. He received his $350 from his health reimbursement. So every year we get our physical exam in July, and then we submit certain results to his employer. Our blood pressure, our cholesterol level, our blood sugar level, our BMI, the fact that we went and saw the doctor, that type of stuff, and we can each earn up to $500. So this year we both earned $350. However, they did not receive my paperwork in time, so I'll be getting my $350 in January. And then Ricky had another bonus here at the end of the year because he finished a new certification, a MedGas certification. So he was given a bonus for that, as well as he was reimbursed for work pants. So they're able to purchase like 4 new pants a year, and then they get reimbursed for that. So that's what that was for the gift money. Basically, I had some birthday money, and then we had Christmas money from a few different people. So that was nice. So we had about $440. My self-employment, so this is basically my YouTube channel. I get paid through Google AdSense. And then I also, again, I have this template on sale on Etsy. So over the past couple years, I've made a little bit there. And then I also have my Amazon affiliate link, which I haven't really been promoting a lot of products lately. However, I do have a new one about my wall calendar, which I've had for a couple years now and I really like. But basically, any of that income that comes in is considered my self-employment. So I put money aside for taxes, and then I cover expenses that I feel are related. So my cell phone and our internet gets covered by that. And then anything left over comes to our personal budget. So I only brought over around $500 this year. So you can see I had quite a bit of a jump. Also in the past, when I was doing Instacart and DoorDash, that was considered self-employment because I had to make sure I had my own taxes put aside for that. Now this big number here, you're going to see $37,000. Obviously this is part of the refinance right here. There's $35,000. Also with the things that were reimbursed to us as far as the escrow account and insurance overpayment, things like that. So this stuff is basically related to the refinance. Again, we're not going to see that money in the future. It was just kind of a one-time deal for us. And you'll see how we spent it down on the bottom. Our stimulus, we had a $2,400 stimulus in January and then a $5,600 in March. Again, this is, we're a family of 4 and we're within the income bracket, so we received the full stimulus. I know some of my viewers make too much and they don't receive any of the stimulus, so it just, depends on your household situation. And then you'll see here is when we started receiving the food stamps. So they kind of did them in some big chunks, and then I tried to stretch those to help us out a little bit each week when we went grocery shopping. So all in all, we had an extra $9,750 brought into our household to help with taking care of the children, basically. And then the last one, tax refund, unemployment. So the tax refund we got in March was $1,699. Then they passed the law to and they decided that the unemployment was not going to be taxable up to a certain amount. So we ended up receiving, in July, we received $1,900 back. So basically you can just consider these first two being a tax refund, if you will. And then we started receiving the $500 a month of the child tax credit. Now we have 2 children, that's why we get $500. We're not going to receive that every month starting in 2022 unless they go back and extend it. So you'll see for next year, or for this year, I basically did not count on that. So we'll see what happens. But that's what we had. We had about $6,000 worth of, I'm calling it tax refund, because the child tax credit is actually a refund you would have received if you did not claim to get it monthly. So basically $6,000 worth of tax refund. Additionally, if we go back to the way the child credit worked before, the full amount was not refundable. So we never got the full, $3,000 worth of child tax credit, or what used to be $2,000 basically in the past. We would only get a portion of that. So this was one of our bigger tax return years. We're probably not going to see that next year. So basically on my template, I do have here so you can see the percents of how it plays out. So you'll see what part of our income was what percent. And then we get into paying ourselves first. So we started the year with Ricky's 401k investing 6%. And we have now ended the year with him investing 8% into the 401k, and then we had 1% into his company's stock. So we were investing 9% by the end of the year. So you're going to see this year we invested $4,650 within his 401k. And then my Roth IRA, I basically only added $167 to that, and then we added about another $194 back to our emergency saving. So we basically saved or invested, if you will, 4% of our income. Our next one is giving. So this for us is just giving if we're giving gifts for holidays, tipping at restaurants, tipping hairdressers, if we make care packages for anyone that needs it, things like that. And then the donations is when it's an actual charity or like the school or something like that, where we can actually mark that off in taxes. So most of this year, with the exception of the back to school supplies we purchased for the school, is everything for the holidays. And you're going to see here in December, I still have some orange numbers because these are the bill money, if you will, for January. So those numbers you're going to start seeing, they're going to start coming out of our bank account. But anyway, so we gave about $3,288 we spent on giving this year, and that was about 2% of our. Now again, we had that big chunk of the refinance, the cash out, so it makes that percent seem lower than if that would have been the amount without that refinance. The next category I have are necessities. So in the template that I provided for you guys, I have just very basic sources. You can edit those and change those however you want. So we do include our taxes and like health insurance withholdings or deductions that we see in our paycheck. We do include those on our budget as part of the percent we're trying to stay within. But if you don't calculate those and you just want to calculate your take-home pay, then you could just take these out of there. Our federal taxes, paid about $2,400 worth of federal taxes this year. We paid about $1,300 in Arizona state taxes this year, $1,097 to our Medicare, $4,692 to Social Security. And then the next one here, this is our family life insurance. So Ricky gets life insurance with his employer up to a certain amount, and then we've added additional life insurance onto him, and then we have myself covered and we have the children covered. So that was about $282 for our portion. The employer pays part of that as well. The other thing we have for him is long-term disability. So he is in a job, he's in construction, so they can get injured, they can get disabled, or they could possibly even die on the job. So that's why we have the extra life insurance and the long-term disability insurance. So again, they get regular disability insurance, and we added additional. So this is a percentage of his pay, so $241 went to that. And then for our health insurance, it's about $87 a week. So it fluctuates month to month. So some months it's $351 and other months it's $439, but for the year it's $4,653. Now the big change, again, you'll see with our mortgage here was the fact that we refinanced. So our mortgage before was a 20-year mortgage, like I mentioned, and we still had the mortgage insurance, but now we don't have that anymore. And we went from a 20-year to a 15-year. So you'll see our payment used to be $1,032. We didn't have to make a payment in June because we were refinancing. And then our new payment was the $1,419. This is actually going up slightly next year because our property tax or our homeowner's insurance premium went up. So that's actually, it's going to be more like $1,430 something. So you'll see that. So we paid about $13,682 towards the home. And then the next one here is our home maintenance improvements. Some stuff could be considered like things for bigger things for the household, like furniture type stuff, and then some things are more like the big projects. So you'll see here in blue I have 11,000. So that was a big chunk from that cash out refinance that we used for house projects. And this is blue because there is still some of that money in the bank. The last project we have planned that we're still waiting to get done is to get the back patio cover done. The company we went with is a local company, so they're kind of like 6 months booked out right now. So they should be coming up on ours soon. So hopefully in January we'll get that done. But basically about 14,900 went to home improvements or house projects. Groceries, you can see how it fluctuates each month. Again, some of the months where we had the extra food money, we might have spent a little extra just because we had the extra money. But we basically spent about 6,870. And if we look at here though, our overall percent for the year was 5%. Obviously, it would probably be a higher percent, more like 10% of our income if you take out that refinance. On average for the year, we're spending about $572 a month on groceries. But we're going to try to meal plan and prep a little bit better for 2022. Okay, personal care and pet care, we spent about $7,850. Again, this is for haircuts, clothes. I believe at the time I was calculating my chiropractor and my gym all into that one category. So that's kind of what we spent. And then the household, so this is different. This is like your cleaning supplies and things like that. But then these might be the furnitures that are like smaller things, or like we had to get a new microwave, we had to get a new toaster, or if we had coffee maker, things like that, those type of appliances. So 2,300 is what we spent. Okay, so the cell phones, we spent 1,400, but you'll see we had a big month here with 700. That's when Ricky and I both had to get new phones. And then we had a little bit bigger of a month when we purchased a phone for our daughter. And so you'll see our bill went up. So it started as $35 a month and now it's $60 a month. And that's just for my husband and daughters. Like I mentioned, my self-employment pays mine, which is basically all of our phones. It's like $30 a month. And we get, it's all unlimited data and everything. We are through Cricket. Our electric, it's $728, but then we also have our solar of $821. So we're spending about $130 a month on electricity. That's not bad. I know some people spend way more money than that. Our water, sewer, trash, $784. This fluctuates, so our bigger months are when we're watering our fruit trees every day, and then now we're back to watering them every other day because it's winter time, so we're down to like $67 a month right now. And then this tab here, you're gonna see some numbers fluctuating. So this started off as my car payment for the year, and then we ended up getting a teardrop at the end of the year once we paid off my car. So my car payment used to be $449. You'll see a few months where we didn't have to pay anything, and then our teardrop payment is $117. Ricky's truck, same thing. We ended up upgrading his truck. His old truck payment used to be $369 and now it's $591. Now these are being paid towards the debt, but it's also being paid towards interest. So it's not, this whole amount isn't paying off the balance, the full balance of what you owe. The next one we have down here is our gas for all of our vehicles. So we have our truck, car, and motorcycle. Spent about $4,809 worth of gas. So that's about $400 a month. Now Ricky's truck does use a lot of gas. He's been riding the motorcycle lately, so it's using less gas. Also, they're finishing up the job site, so hopefully, fingers crossed, he gets put to a job site that's closer to the house, so hopefully that amount goes down. The next category is our insurance. So this is the insurance for, again, the truck, the car, the motorcycle, and now the teardrop. So this fluctuated. We were at $236. It ended up going up a little bit, and then I changed, once we paid off the car, I changed some of our deductible amounts and things like that, so then it kind of went back down. So then when we added the teardrop, it pretty much just evened out to where we were, but we're actually paying less. We have more stuff covered, but we're paying less than we started off at the beginning of the year. So currently about $222. 1 month out of the year, we pay the motorcycle, which is just for the whole year, so $70 for that. The next category is maintenance on the vehicles. So most of this is oil changes for Ricky's truck, and then work on the motorcycle, so $1,450. The next one is registration for all the vehicles. So we spent $616 on registration this year. And then the last two are my daughters. So as we got stimulus, they got money from the stimulus. As they did commission jobs, they earned money from us, holiday money, things like that. So Arcadia had $1,039, and then Elsa was $861. Our next category, which is the one I know a lot of people like to focus on when they're trying to get out of debt, is how much extra can you pay towards the debt. So we started off the year planning on paying off Ricky's truck. But then when we knew he wanted to upgrade his truck and we wanted to have a truck that was capable to pull the teardrop, I decided to stop paying extra on the truck because I was like, well, that's going to change. And then we decided to refinance. So we said, okay, let's pay off the car instead and trade the truck in. So that's kind of what happened. So at the beginning of the year, we paid an extra $2,250 on his old truck. And then you can see we had some months where we didn't really do a whole lot. And then we paid off my car. So my car was $19,697. So that's paid off now. I don't have a car payment anymore. We started putting money in savings for the down payment for the teardrop. And then we paid an extra $650 for 2 months and $680 for a month on the new truck. All in all, though, we paid off $30,000 worth of debt. So we paid off an extra 21% of our income to debt. So that's pretty good. And we're moving along with the things that we want to have in our life, and we're trying to do it in a reasonable way. So our last one's fun. So this is eating out, events, date night, Ricky and me spending money on the side, our Prime and Netflix, and then our vacation. So we spent about 3% of our income on eating out, $3,633. So it looks like about $300 a month eating out. Again, you're gonna see in my 22 budget that we're gonna try to reel that back in. I always say this, I'm like, okay, we're gonna try to do less, we're gonna eat out less, or we're gonna meal prep our food more, and we usually do good for a few months and then we fall off. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The next one here, like I mentioned, is like events. So this is if we had memberships to anything, if we went to something that we had to pay for parking, or we went somewhere where if we paid for like souvenirs and things like that within the event, if we chipped in for anything for parties, like so we brought stuff like food or drinks to the party, we'd count that as like an event because it was at a party or something like that. So that's that. The other one here is our date night. So we didn't really go out for a bunch of dates, with the exception of maybe 2 times. So realistically, those are like purchasing firewood and alcohol for the house. So that's our date night, doing a fire in the backyard. And then we have, so mine and Ricky's money together was $6,421. So I'm currently doing laser hair removal, which is about $48 a month. That will end, you'll see that will end part of next year. But I had a big one here because I had purchased, I started the laser hair removal, so I put kind of a chunk down on that. And then I also did microblading on my eyebrows. I don't know if you guys have been able to tell over the last couple months. So that's part of this as well. And then also just extra education, purchasing books and things like that. Originally I was working on a different certification that I'm no longer working on. But that's basically what that was. A combination of Ricky spending money on whatever he wanted, ordering stuff on Amazon, and my stuff combined. And then with our, we had Netflix at the beginning of the year, and then about mid-year we added Amazon Prime, so $387 for the year. And then our vacation was $6,043. So again, we had 2 vacations. We had some money already saved towards these vacations, so this was in addition. So we did a houseboat rental in May, which was around $3,000 that we spent, and then we did our Florida trip, which we spent close to $7,000, I think. If you want to see the actual budgets of how the trips played out, stay tuned. I am going to be sharing those once a month moving forward. I'm going to show you how much some of our past trips have cost and how we've budgeted ahead of time to do our best to estimate those costs. But overall for the year, 14% of our income was for fun. For those of you who have been watching for a long time, you might have remembered me saying I was following T. Harv Egert's percentages for the budget. So that meant you would be paying yourself first 10%, and you would have 10% for fun, 10% for long-term savings, and 50% for your necessities, things like that. So that's why I originally started calculating those percents. So obviously you can see our percents are not aligned with that anymore, but I think they're still a good guideline if you're just trying to get a sense of where your money maybe should be going. But ultimately, it's always up to you. Now we're going to jump on to 2022, and I want you guys to think of, when you're doing your budget, think of your personal household, obviously, and think of your personal values. So if, working out and having a specific gym membership is a value to you, then put it in the budget. Or if, this year you really want to get some home projects done, try to put it in the budget. Okay, so let's jump on to 2022. All right, so like I mentioned, the difference that you're going to see with the 2022 template, one, obviously it's available to you guys now, but I've also included every single month of the year. You're going to see I have a few extra tabs on the bottom of my template that your template's not going to have, and I might add these to it in the future. I'm always trying to improve this for you guys as you guys let me know what you want to have. Again, I have a home projects budget, like a trip budget, those type of things I like to put in, and I kind of line them up next to the months that they're happening. But like I mentioned, as you do your yearly budget, so as you plug in your numbers here, if I go to January's tab, those numbers are automatically going to be budgeted in the month. And then you'll have to join me every week because we'll be budgeting out the paychecks, or I budget every week because we get paid every week. So that's what I encourage you guys to do, is sit through here and go ahead and get your budget for the year, and then it's automatically going to be into your monthly budget, so it helps save you on one step. The other thing is, if you're going to change your numbers later, update them in the yearly portion before trying to change them in the monthly one, because if you end up changing it here, it's not going to go back to the yearly one. Okay. The other budget you're going to notice here is I have my self-employment budget, and I will be sharing that in a whole separate video so you can see what different sources of income I have coming in there. Okay, so the biggest thing we're going to notice for this year is Ricky did get another raise in December, and he's due another raise in February. So that's what I have here, $26.10 versus $27.50, 40 hours a week. So you'll see here, starting in February, he'll be making about $4,400 up to $5,500. You'll notice the months with the little asterisk star. That means he gets an extra paycheck because we have 5 Fridays in those months, and that does affect the rest of our budget because that means we have to have an extra week of groceries, an extra week of gas, and things like that. So you can see we have, usually it's pretty consistent. We usually have 4 months out of the year where there's an extra paycheck. And so you'll see here he's on track to make about $56,970. So versus last year, $50,000, so an extra $6,000 this year. And then overtime, when I added up his overtime last year, he averaged about 10 hours of overtime every week. So this year I'm only budgeting 8 hours of overtime every week just to kind of lowball it a little bit. And again, these are going to change month to month because some months they have no overtime. There's maybe like 1 or 2 months out of the year where there's no overtime, and then the other months there might be months where they have more overtime, and then some months with a little less. So for instance, during the holidays there's a little less overtime, and so I went ahead and budgeted the 8 hours a week for each month. But as we go through on a monthly budget basis, we'll be updating those as well. So about 17,000, we're estimating 17,000 of overtime, which we're estimating less than the 18,000 from last year. So roughly about 1,320 to 1,650 a month on that. So my self-employment, again, I have the YouTube channel, and I'm gonna, my Etsy store, but I've also started doing what's called crypto mining. So I'm using my gaming laptop to mine cryptocurrency. I literally just started. I did like 1 month worth of mining. So I am going to start, I'm just going to kind of limit how much my computer's running. So I'm just averaging that I'll be bringing in, I'm lowballing, I'm just saying $30 a month for that, but that will be considered self-employment because I will have to put money aside for taxes and stuff like that with that. So we'll see how that goes. But basically I'm estimating about $40 a month that I'll be bringing over from my self-employment. And again, the rest of that pays for, I put 20 into savings, 15% towards taxes, and 5% towards our profit share. So you'll see some of these months where I have $67 or $70. That's part of our profit share coming back to our personal budget. So basically 20% of whatever I'm making is going into savings automatically. And then I pay our internet, which is about $105 a month. And then I pay my cell phone, which is $30. And then whatever's left over comes to our personal budget. So that's kind of, I'm estimating everything really low this year, but I'm hoping to start building it back up because I'm going to just start being more consistent with my videos. Cash back for Discover, we're just estimating $30 a month. As you saw on last month, we had some months where we got $80 back. It just depends on how much we spent on that card that month. And then interest for the bank account, I just $4 for the year, so we'll see. So maybe we might get an extra 360 cash back and maybe $48 worth of interest in the bank account. I know $4 doesn't seem like much, but you really just want to tell every single dollar where to go, because $48, that may not seem like that much, but that could be an extra, you know, you could say, hey, I want to go out to eat one extra time, or I have a pair of shoes that I really wanted to. Bonus reimbursement stuff we're planning on. Again, the $350 in January should be my health bonus that I did not get last October. We're estimating about $1,000 for Ricky's work bonus. Last year they only got $600, but that's because they had a lot of people from Texas that had to come work over here in Arizona with everything, but now everyone's back to where they should be, so hopefully that will be back to where it was the year before. And then we're estimating our $700 for our health bonus in October, so about $2,000 worth of. I have MVD credit. So I had renewed Ricky's truck registration, and then when we traded in his truck, I got $112 back. Normally they would send it to us as a check, but this time they just left it as a credit. So I'll just be applying that to the other registrations. And then tax refund, we're estimating about $3,000. So we're estimating, you know, half of that, about $1,500 will be the other half of the child tax credit, and then the other half will be our tax refund. Similar to, you know, last year we had $1,600 tax refund, so I just said $1,500. I obviously won't know till I do the taxes at the end of January. So usually I have everything submitted by the end of January, and we usually get our money in February. So that's why I lined it up with those months there. Now, paying ourselves first, you're going to see we have some changes from what you might have seen in the template form. So we're starting off the year investing 9%. We want to be investing 20% of Ricky's income by the end of the year. So I'm increasing our investments by 1% every single month, and by November we'll be at 20%. The other thing is we do need to pay back some of our emergency fund savings. We went over on our Florida trip, and we went over on our Christmas budget. So we basically have to pay back that savings. So that's what you're going to see here. So as of January, 8% is into the 401k, and then we have 2% into the ESOP. That's basically his works stock. Now technically these are all within his 401k. However, on his pay stubs they have them separate, so I wanted to put them separate on the budget template. So the goal is to get within the other 401k, we have 3 different mutual funds we're invested in. I am going to have another video that goes into a little more detail of what we have. But we are planning on getting that up to 15% by the end of the year, and then his company stock we're going to have up to 5% by the end of the year to make the 20%. So you can just see how that fluctuates. So then we'll be going each month. So this will be 9%, then 10%, and then this gets bumped up to 3%, 4%, kind of just fluctuating each month until the end of the year. You'll see we have 15% and 5%. So by the end of the year, with what we've saved and invested, it will have been 18% of our total cash flow, if you will, all of everything coming in. So we should be able to do about $8,600 plus the $2,800 into his 401k, and then they do get employer match, but it's a profit share match. So basically, in May or June of every year, they get a profit share. So they get a percentage match of everything they put in the year before. Last year they got a 48% match. The year before it was like a 58% match. So we'll see what he ends up getting this year. We'll just end up seeing what he gets, but that will happen in May. Again, our next one of giving, we just have $50 a month across the board and then $500 for Christmas. Obviously, that's a lot lower than what we gave last year, but we have a lot less cash flow coming into the household this year than we did last year. So instead of 2%, we're down to 1%. And this will most likely change. And then our necessities. So again, taxes. So we're just, I have calculations within, I have formulas within my template. If you would like me to add formulas to your template, then I do have an option on Etsy for you to purchase the template along with a meeting with me, and then I can, we can either do like a Zoom or a Google Hangouts, or even just on the phone. We can discuss what you want me to put on your template, and then I can customize it for you. It is a little bit more money because it takes up more of my time. But for our calculations, I have 2% for federal, 1.3% for state, 1.45% for Medicare, and 6.2% for Social Security. Now these numbers always end up being lower than those percents because we are investing more pre-tax, and we also have health insurance that's pre-tax. So once the investment money and the health insurance is paid, that lowers our taxable income. But again, I want to make sure I'm overestimating that so that I don't end up messing it up and saying I need more money than I have, right? So these are our numbers basically for the year. They're going to look very similar to last year's numbers. Ricky did get that raise, but with overtime, we're not sure how that's going to play out yet. Same thing, his life insurance, pretty close to last year. Long-term disability is 0.36% of his income. And then we are really lucky this year. Their employer was able to keep our health insurance the same, so we did not have an increase in our insurance this year. So $351 versus $439. I did the same thing. We have the months with the asterisks. So again, that's an extra week worth of health insurance we'd have to pay. Now you're going to see here that like I mentioned, our mortgage went up, so it's $1,435.96 for this year. And this could fluctuate every year. It could go back down, it could go back up. It just depends on how your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance is working. Home maintenance, personal care, and household, we're not budgeting anything, but as you saw, we obviously spend money in those categories. So those we're going to do on a month-to-month basis. So you'll have to join me. Maybe we'll do a mid-year checkup like we did last year. Groceries, we're going to try to keep it at $120 a week. So we have fluctuates between $480 to $600 a month. Again, we'll see how that goes. So cell phones, prices of the cell phone didn't go up, so that's $60 a month for Ricky and Arcadia. And then electric, when I took how much we spent last year and I divided it, we averaged $60 a month. So we're going to do $60 a month. If it's less than 60, we'll just keep some of it in savings. So then if we have a month that's more than 60, it's already kind of put aside for that. If you remember the template video that I did, some of these were blank because we weren't going to have the money that particular month to cover that bill. So we were going to have to cover it out of like the month before. But with Ricky's raise, we're able to just cover the bills month to month and not worry about it. Solar's 81, that's our contract, so that will never change. And then our water, sewer, trash, again, our last few months have been about $67.35. So I'm going to leave that at that, and then I'm going to bump it up to $71.24, which is what our higher water bill was when we were watering the trees more. So we'll just see how that changes. Then we have Ricky's truck payment, the $591, and the teardrop, the $117. Gas, we're estimating $90 a week. As you saw from last year's budget, we were actually doing closer to $100 a week, but I'm not driving to work anymore, so that should lower it. And again, hopefully Ricky gets moved closer. But we're fluctuating between $360 a month and $450 a month worth of gas. Again, our insurance as of right now is $222, and then you'll see here we have $292, so that will be the extra $70 for the motorcycle insurance later. Registration for the vehicles, I'm estimating $801. Obviously I haven't checked it recently, so this number could go down. Every year my car goes down a little bit, but with Ricky's new truck it kind of went up since last year. Last year, again, we spent about $600 worth of registration. This year I'm thinking it's going to be closer to $800. But all in all, our necessities is going to be around 71% of our overall income or cash flow. The idea would be to get it down to 60% because we are calculating our taxes in there. If we were not calculating taxes in there, it would be closer to like 50%, right? But we're at 71, so we got some work to do. And again, that's just because of the debt payments that the debt we got to get rid of. Extra debt, this I fill out last because it's whatever's left. So let's jump to the fun category first. So fun, again, we have eating out. We're going to try to do $30 weekly. Now this eating out for us, we mean like literally fast food, cheap dollar menu, not like sit down restaurants. This last year we did a lot more sit down restaurant type things, so that's why it was a lot more money. So we're going to try to just keep it at that. So $120 to $150 a month. Events, we have about $25 a month, and this is mostly going to be going towards camping. So we plan on most of our stuff this year being camping. So our food and our gas from our regular budget will most likely go towards the camping. So this is just anything additional we might need specific for the camping trip. And that's how we're just going to kind of leave it at that. Date night, we don't have anything on there, but again, there's most likely we'll be putting stuff on there as we spend it. My laser hair removal is $48.89, and that is done in September. So then that will be we'll be done with that. And then we don't have anything planned out ahead for Ricky. We're probably going to change that because how I have $48 a month, so we might just say right away like Ricky's got $50 for the month. So that might be a change that I might make sooner than later. The other thing, Prime and Netflix now is $29.49. That's the whole year. And then vacations, we're only going to do $1,500 towards our vacation this year. Again, we are camping, but we're going to do one long week trip in the teardrop trailer up the coast of California to the Redwoods. And camping and all that stuff isn't that expensive. So last year we splurged because we didn't do anything in 2020, and this year we're going to kind of just try to mellow it back out. But all in all, our fun will be about 5% of our income. Once we have our debt paid off, we can increase this back up to the 10% that we're originally trying to get to. So let's get to our extra debt payoff. So what we basically did was, when you're doing a zero-based budget, you're telling everything where to go. So if you notice at the bottom I have a 0, so that means I've told every dollar where to go. That doesn't mean you don't have any money, it just means it has somewhere to go. So let's say I take this out, this $200 out, right? I scroll down, I've told everything where to go based on what bills we have, based on our values or our kind of our patterns of spending. And then I say, okay, well I have an extra $214 left, so I'm going to pay that extra towards the debt. So I have that $214.31. So now it's 0, right? So we're going to pay off an extra $3,500 on the teardrop. If we end up bringing in more money than we planned on, then that is more likely going to go towards the teardrop. The goal is to have this thing paid off obviously as fast as we can. It's looking like, realistically though, it'll probably be paid off by the end of next year as opposed to this year, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's our recap of our 2021 cash flow, if you will, and then a glimpse at our 2022 budget. So join me. I'm going to be having we're going to go through and plan out all of our paychecks, our month of January. We're going to get that planned out, and then join me every Friday as we budget out the current paycheck. Again, I have some other videos that I'm going to be bringing out on a monthly basis, so look forward to those. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.